Hey everybody, welcome to the Morphin Grid. I'm Jake.
I'm Josh.
And today we're going to be talking about episode 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's called High Five. It aired September 7th, 1993. And it is a doozy. We're going to have a lot to say. So we're going to pause the episode right now and then watch it, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
Right.
Good input.
Glad I could contribute.
All right. With that...
That you rapid fired through everything. We just want to apologize now. It's raining here.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Good call getting that out.
We don't have an official sound studio. We're just sitting at a table in what passes for a dining room in my apartment.
It's a nook. A dining nook, if anything.
So we're sorry for any weird background noise. We don't think it'll be too audible, but it'll be noticeable if you're listening for it, which you are now.
Yeah, I think it'll be... I think you'll be able to notice it. I think it'll be noticeable. I don't think it'll
ruin this episode of our podcast. If it
we can do that all by ourselves.
We'll just record it again because we're super good at doing the Morphin Grid more than once.
All right, so...
It's Morphin time!
It's Morphin time!
All right, guys, we're back.
We are definitely back from watching High Five.
All right, so we're setting out on this journey, this podcast, because we want to talk about Power Rangers because we love Power Rangers.
But, asterisk.
Some episodes just won't let us talk about Power Rangers like that.
Yeah, we'll still be able to talk about it, but in a less than positive way.
Still a Power Rangers episode. It's bad. There's some bad stuff.
This one's a little weird.
It is.
By Power Ranger standards, which is saying something.
So I'm going to start, because I have just something I want to say. Not so much just that's like this episode specific.
I have a million notes, so say what you want to say now.
But as far as Power Rangers, like the whole thing with Rita, her voice actor, whose name I have here, Barbara Goodson, does a more phenomenal job matching the words to the foreign, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It's Japanese.
Yeah.
It's 100% foreign.
Well, I mean, but it looks like she's still saying English words.
Right. Yeah, like when she's like, that's okay. Like,
and I think that's all on Barbara Goodson. Well, just figuring out a way to phonetically say English words so that Japanese lips look like they're saying them.
Right. I don't know how they do it with shows, because there's really only the one show that does this.
Yeah.
It's Power Rangers. So I don't know how... Because like with anime, you know, they just write whatever fits in the cartoon mouth, and it can be anything. And sometimes it doesn't fit, and there's awkward pauses and whatever. It doesn't matter. But with this, they have to match another human being speaking.
And she does really well.
And she does it really well.
Not even just with words, but with sound effects. Like, it's all timed perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, they do make good use of the cutaways whenever the mouth is not on her.
Yeah.
You know, that's when they kind of have a little more leeway. But yeah, she does do a really good job. No, never mind. That's a different thing that I'm thinking of.
Okay.
I was going to say a fact that was wrong.
Say it.
I was going to say Barbara Goodson is in Wild Force. She's not. The woman who plays Rita...
The actress who plays Rita.
Rita is in Wild Force as the Good Witch.
Don't... Spoilers? Oh my god.
Fine, I'll delete it. I'll just say she's in it later.
I would be mad at you because I haven't seen Wild Force yet. But I literally just read about that as I was looking for Barbara Goodson's name. So
we'll get there. Okay, so down to brass tacks, you guys. This episode is about overcoming your fears, which is an important thing that we all need to do. I'm afraid of a lot of things, like bugs and driving. Those are the fears I won't get over.
Right. Unless you have to.
Unless I have to, Zordon. Nudge, nudge. So the main thing is that Trini is afraid of not only being high up, but the concept of heights frightens her.
Yes.
In any regard. Yeah. Like, when Jason's climbing a rope, she's afraid that he might fall because he's so high up. That's a little irrational, but being something of an expert on irrational fears myself, whatever, that works.
Right,
That's
but
fine.
they had to.
They had to get the
They
episode
had to be like,
in.
hey, she's wicked afraid of heights, and they had to do it fast because they didn't set that up earlier.
No, they didn't set
Because
up.
each of these episodes that we're on now are basically self-inclusive.
Yeah, it's really until Green with Evil, and even after that.
Even after that.
It's really until the Zeo. Well,
No,
the ninja
like
stuff.
ninja stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff later on. I don't know exactly when, but until Green with Evil,
But
it's
basically-
strictly one-shots.
Basically, for Mighty Morphin, you only need to watch episodes that have more than one part.
Yeah, to get everything. I mean, you need to
'Cause-
watch Day of the Dumpster. You should
Right.
watch Food Fight. 'Cause-
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to mention that too. In America, Food Fight was the second aired episode.
Yes.
We are doing this podcast in the order of their production
In-
numbers and the order that they're
in
in
the
on
order
the DVD.
that God intended.
Yeah. So the actual second episode is the one we're talking
Is
about,
what we're talking about, yes.
which is not the second episode.
So don't
that
email
aired.
us saying, actually, Conan O'Brien.
Neither of us is Conan O'Brien, I promise.
No, you're skinny enough. I'm so
not tall
short.
enough, though. He's a giant.
I'm so short. He's like 1.5 feet tall. Well, he's about a foot taller than me. Because I'm the same height as Seth Green, and he could just bend over and eat Seth Green whole.
All right, this isn't Conan O'Brien, guys.
No, you're right. Okay, so I have a lot of notes just so we can.
Yeah,
move.
I didn't take any because I know you have a lot you want to say, and I'll just kind of talk about that stuff with you.
Okay, sounds good. Now that we have a plan moving forward, so it starts out with rope climbing. Jason just showing off. I'm gonna climb this rope. Watch this, and then he does, and then he sort of slips, and I don't think it's on purpose, but
It's not.
it definitely freaks
Because you
Trini
can
out.
see it, because Trini's like, oh, be careful, and talks about like how nervous she would be, and Jason's
Right.
like, I never get nervous, and then he almost dies.
Right, and then he
goes
falls.
right back, when I'm climbing.
Yeah. So it doesn't take long for my favorite song in the world, the Bulk and Skull mix, to start playing. Which, I mean, it's not my real favorite song, but when that song plays, I get happy because it's the doofiest song. It's such a goober. That song itself is just a goober. And then in walk Bulk and Skull, and Bulk says, and I wrote this down.
Oh, good.
Bulk says, somebody says something about the circus. I'm not sure what. That's not the important part. The important part is Bulk saying, the circus don't take geek clowns. Wrong, Bulk. They take both of those because clowns is like half of what the circus is, and geek is a term for a circus sideshow person who
Right.
eats the heads off chickens.
What Bulk is saying is that they don't take clowns who are geeks.
Who are also geeks. They don't take...
You have to be a clown or a geek. You
There's-
can't be a geek clown.
There's a union. You can't be both.
Right, yeah.
The circus union. The United Front of Circus People.
UFCP.
UFC is a lot like geek clowns. So then they challenge Bulk to climb the rope, which he, number one, fails at miserably. And then he tries to do it again by spitting on his hands first to really give him some grip.
Some grip.
You know.
You don't have a grip till your hands are slimy.
All slimy with... That's... No,
with
it's
yours and
a little bit skulls.
Because before he can spit in his left hand, Skull's ready to go.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got him out. You know, does his little clap.
Yeah.
He jumps on the rope and immediately just slips back down to the ground.
Right, because...
So he's getting ready. He's got a spit in his hands. He spits in his right, and as he turns to his left, Skull spits into his left hand. And he looks at him a little bit like, come on. And then just rubs them together.
But then they're best friends ever, so they're
right.
like, whatever. He's got gloves on, too.
He doesn't have gloves on.
Not this one?
Nope.
Normally he
Normally he
has gloves
does,
on.
but not
when
for climbing the rope. Because when I remember that vividly, because when he slips the first time, my hands hurt. Because I hate ropes. I hate holding ropes. I hate pulling ropes.
I did not know that about you.
I hate them. They hurt. They do nothing but hurt and burn.
Then Bolt climbs it again, goes up the rope again.
Right, the spit worked because now he's hanging on.
He has really gritty spit, so he climbed right up.
Spit sandpaper.
He just climbed a little bit up and then pulled the rope out of the ceiling.
Yep.
Which, we're going to talk about this rope a lot more than we need to. Okay, because... So, when Jason's up at the top, it's connected to a bar, like a cross beam.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I'm
then-
going to take your word for it. I thought it was on a giant eye hook.
No,
Okay.
if it is, but it's in a cross beam.
Okay. All right, I see what you're saying.
So when Bulk
Alright.
pulls down plaster, I get confused.
First of all, when he hits the ground, he's already got visible plaster
Some
in his mouth.
Yeah, someone should just been like, "You go, Paul. You
Right,
go a
yeah,
little
come
bit."
on.
Just, it's for the joke of when the
Right.
15 seconds later, it seems like when
I'm going to justify all of this.
Okay.
The rope falling, and then the ceiling falling 10 to 15 seconds later.
Sure.
Bulk spitting the dust out of his mouth. As Power Rangers at this point is a live-action cartoon show.
It is. Yeah, they haven't sped up time for comical effect yet, but they will.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. And the joke is that it falls onto his head and then he spits out all this
Right, because
plaster.
the
And-
ceiling didn't fall right away because it hadn't looked down yet.
Sure.
Because cartoon physics, you have to look down to fall
cartoons,
down.
yeah. They laugh at Bulk because he's a dork.
They bully him a little.
A little bit.
Oh, you really showed us, Bulk.
I mean,
it's...
I don't like it because they're bullying, but at the same time, he's
That's
a
how you-
bully.
That's,
and
how we dealt with bullies back then.
That is kind of
if
how
you
we did
didn't
it back
bully
then.
them back, they just pick on you forever.
Yeah.
Bulk and Skull pick on them forever. Regardless.
Until they're best friends with them, which is very touching.
Yeah, we're going to have fun talking about
Yeah.
that.
Because that's in Zeo.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun
talking about that.
Let's hurry up and get through the rest of this.
We're going to put 15, maybe 16 episodes out a day. Anyway, so then we cut to Rita, who's like, those Power Rangers, I hate them. I'm going to put them in a time warp using this spaceship that I stole from astronauts.
It's not... It's a time device, a time warp device.
But it's made out of the same exact ship.
It's the spaceship that the astronauts that let her out were in.
Yeah, she took it, shrunk it, turned it into a time device.
Right.
With a pop-off nose that comically rolls through not Tokyo.
Angel Grove.
Angel Grove. Definitely not Tokyo.
No, because it's Angel Grove.
No, there's a lot of Asian people, but it's not Tokyo. Definitely not. Why? Why is this spaceship a time warp? Why is there a time warp? Why does it have to be a time warp? Maybe because she says, "Oh, I trapped Zordon in it."
I mean, they retcon that later.
Yeah, because then Zordon is just in the
He's
tube.
in the tube.
The tube
right
is,
now, the tube is, I guess, like a monitor.
It's like a TV that Alpha made or something.
Right.
So she sends it out. It's goofy. People are jumping out of the way.
Right.
It's going against traffic.
Well, yeah. When we have the view from the cockpit of the time warp device,
The spaceship.
there's cars and people, driving all out of the way, jumping out of the way. But when the view is third person on the spaceship, the street is empty.
It's completely
The town is
empty.
deserted.
Yes.
I don't know.
Filming.
That whole montage could have just been a better fight scene. A better,
Right.
longer fight
Or
scene.
they could have explained some stuff that comes up later.
Oh,
Which
yes.
we'll get to. There's this is an episode that has it seems like it has a couple episodes in it, but I know it doesn't because like the bone stuff and then the giant stuff bleed right into each other. So I know it's not 2 episodes with usable footage that they just crammed together.
Right.
Though I wish it was, so it would make more sense to me. But we go back to the Rangers, and Billy has invented communicators, which is everyone's favorite thing. So Billy invents communicators using microwaves, which I'm sure you can send signals with
Yes.
microwaves.
Yeah, you can.
Cool. I hope it doesn't give them cancer or nuke their...
They don't have cancer in 1993.
Oh, of course.
It's fine.
He invents communicators that accidentally teleport you. We talked about this a little bit in the last episode. They accidentally teleport you to the command center.
Yeah, he taps into the command center's teleportation
module
or
unit, whatever.
by accident.
Yeah, the
He
neutrino
didn't
grid
mean
was all
to.
goofy.
Billy's just so good at being smart. that he did.
That it accidentally invented teleportation.
Well, he didn't invent it.
As a human, he invented it, though. Like, on a human level.
Well, he didn't invent it because he didn't make the...
Okay,
the
you're
communicators
right.
don't teleport you. They just link to the teleportation mechanism, and then that pulls you in.
And that turns you into
Basically,
colors.
it's a button that you push, and then the command center sucks you...
Just grabs you
in. Yeah.
Here's my favorite part about that. He explains how they work. You just push and talk. Trini pushes it.
That's how Trini explains it. He says...
Something
you need to touch it in a smart way that I don't
tactile
remember.
and auditory stimulus
Auditory stimulus.
or something. So Trini presses the button after says, "Oh, you just press and talk," and her and Jason, Kimberly, and Zach all teleport.
I think
They didn't. It was just her.
It was just her.
It was just her.
It was all of them.
Maybe what it does is you hit the button and it sends out a signal saying, I need to be teleported.
Also, they hadn't been reprogrammed yet.
So it just grabbed all of the people around there.
Yeah, it was a prototype.
Yeah.
There's bugs.
Alpha hadn't fixed it yet.
How does Alpha fix them?
Oh, just 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Josh. So they teleport.
Because I know you love that little tool.
It's my favorite. I wish it was in every episode. I wish he always had.
I wish he had that and his bear.
Yeah, all the time. We didn't talk about the bear last episode because we were all grouchy.
Oh, we didn't.
In the first episode, Alpha had a bear with his head on it, and we don't know where he got it.
And he never has it
again. And they should sell them. Saban or Bondi.
I'd buy it.
Sabandai.
20th, 25th, what anniversary are we on?
Around the 20th.
20th anniversary Alpha Bears.
25th anniversary. Give it a couple years.
I'd buy them tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. Anyway. So, they teleport. Billy doesn't. Then Billy goes, oh, what?
That's weird. Touches it and teleports.
Teleports. They all land on Alpha again. Or no, this is the first time they land on Alpha. Last time they just landed in a heap. But they always land in a heap.
They haven't figured out how to land yet.
Yeah. So
Kimberly, you think, would be really good at landing.
Right.
She's
just
a gymnast.
stick the landing.
She should be the only one who's just standing in there.
That was close. You guys, come on, you're embarrassing me. They all land on Alpha, and he shakes them off, and he's like, yo, 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 homeboys and homegirls.
He's just trying to relate to his new children.
So this is the Proto Alpha 6 that shows up later.
Ugh.
Josh,
can we skip Turbo?
We can't skip Turbo.
Oh,
Josh hates Alpha 6. I don't like Alpha 6, but I have a huge soft spot for Turbo, so I allow it. Even though Turbo is objectively
Alpha 6
really
is
bad.
Fine after Turbo.
Afterwards, when he's broken and they fix him.
I don't understand. The Turbo season is just so bad.
Look.
And how could they make it and be like, this is great?
Money, man.
I should be used to this being a wrestling fan, but I'm not.
You're not. You should be used to constant ups and downs and disappointment coming from all over, but you're not.
Just for a one mediocre payoff.
Sometimes.
That immediately gets retconned.
Yep. Anyway, back to Power Rangers. I don't know how many more times he says.
I don't think he's Alpha 6 at this point.
No, but I think
not like that's how Alpha 6 was. Like that was Alpha 6's personality. This is Alpha trying to relate to a bunch of teenagers. Like he's just he's like a mom. He's like he's like a mom embarrassing his kids in public. Embarrassing his kids. It's a weird sentence.
I wish I could draw so I could draw Alpha in mom jeans. So internet.
Anybody listening, please.
Anyone, please. I'm just wondering if later on in Turbo when they're introducing Alpha 6, they're like, oh, let's give him a different personality. Or her. I'm not sure if Alpha 6 is a girl or not. Because a girl does Alpha and Alpha 6's voice. I don't think
they necessarily have been assigned
Yeah, they're just genderless, whatever.
They're robots.
They're robots, you're right. But I wonder if they're like, we need to give Alpha a new personality. What do we do? And someone was like, remember that second episode? What if maybe we talk like that the whole time? But with also kind of a Brooklyn accent.
I mean, we're getting way off track. But Alpha 6 replaces I with yo, yo, yo.
That's true. We'll talk about that when we get there.
Anyway,
let's go back. Let's go back.
Let's go back to the episode 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
We have like 130 episodes to go. 170, maybe 180.
A lot. We have a lot.
Not the point. All right, I feel like we've gotten so off track that I don't know how to gracefully segue back into the tool Alpha uses to fix the communicators, which is a remote control for your television glued to a pen.
It's like a fancy pen.
It's a good pen, and it's a pretty nice remote control
it's a pretty
for
big
93.
Remote. I mean, it's a 93 remote, so maybe it was just average size.
Right, that was a
it
small
looks
one.
large to my current eyes.
But it's just a pen glued, and it shocks
Right,
him.
and he's like, "Oh, this is easy."
And then he gets
As he
zapped.
scribbles on the communicator with his remote pen.
So then we cut back to the space witch. What's her name, Josh?
Rita.
I'm just thinking about stupid Alpha 6 now. So
Let Alpha 6 go. He's a long ways away.
all right, yeah. So we come back to Rita, who's like, "We need a monster to control the time warp. Finster, which one of these are we gonna use?" And he's like, "None. I made a new guy. His name is Bones." And they put Bones in for
Too long.
He's overcooked because he sounds like he's talking through a tin can, you know. And then they send him,
He takes his head off.
instead of his hat.
Instead of his hat, he tips his head.
Whole head.
And Fisher's like, maybe I should have cooked him on low.
Yeah, and then we come back to the Power Rangers, which I'm just now realizing I don't know. Did they get teleported? Were there putties
There's
just
putties.
in the mountains?
Yeah. Oh, you don't remember?
No.
There's the putties, so they get teleported there, and Jason puts a hoodie on while they're teleporting.
Right. Jason is Superman, but instead of a phone booth, it's the teleport time.
He managed to get it on under the shirt he was already wearing, too.
While we're talking about clothing,
Yes.
we're going to jump right into my favorite segment. What was Kimberly wearing this episode?
All right.
Which I don't know if we did last time.
I don't know what she was wearing last time.
I don't remember. It's probably awesome. Because the 90s were the best era of fashion for me.
For you.
Maybe not for everybody, but I really enjoy how it looks. So Kimberly's wearing a scrunchie, which I feel like they've all been rounded up and burned by now. I feel like you just can't find a scrunchie anymore. Short shorts, short jean shorts, a striped button-up, and a pink shirt. Now, this isn't super important, but I was just wondering, like, going forward, I'm gonna keep an eye out on the amount of color saturation, by which I mean how much of their color each Power Ranger is wearing.
Okay.
Because Zach is wearing mostly purple.
But he's got black tank top on.
Black tank top.
Purple pants.
Purple and black pants, but a lot of purple. Kimberly's only wearing the pink shirt. Jason has the red vest. He doesn't have his stupid red pants yet.
It's not. It's a tank top. It's like a muscle shirt.
Right. I imagine
You think it's a vest because he's wearing it over something.
his sweatshirt.
Because the sweatshirt's not red. If he didn't have the red shirt over it, how would we know he's the Red Ranger?
I don't know.
His shoes are red.
His shoes are red. Billy is wearing 100% blue, from his overalls to his shirt to his shoes.
Yeah, he's even got like a blue T-shirt under his overalls
under
with
his
a blue
overalls.
plaid over it.
Yeah, he's all blue. And then Trini's wearing kind of a mix. She's got a yellow shirt, yellow sweatshirt tied around her waist. And then
gray pants. And
shoes of some sort.
She's also wearing shoes.
Definitely. So I'm just going to keep an eye out, because I know there are some points where everyone is dressed 100% head to toe in their color. Like Jason gets red pants. He's wearing a red shirt.
Not just red pants, but they're like red denim. We'll
Red-
talk about those.
Red denim pants. Come on,
Those
Jason.
travesties.
Get it together. So this concludes what Kimberly was wearing this episode.
But Kimberly and everyone else.
And everyone
Was
else.
wearing
I don't know
this
if we'll do
episode.
everyone else, but we'll definitely do Kimberly as often as I think of it. Because she was the first person I was ever in love with at the ripe old age of 4. Didn't understand a single thing, except that she was really pretty, and I like that about her. So there's a million putties in the desert mountain.
There's like
in the tundra.
probably 12 putties.
In the Serengeti.
desert. In the desert, I assume the same desert that the command center is in.
But it's right next to a mountain.
It is also next to a mountain.
Because, I mean, and I lived in Los Angeles for a little while. It's completely surrounded by mountains. which you don't see because they're the same color as the sky. Not joking about that. I didn't know there were mountains till we had a really clear day. I was like, whoa, what are all of these things? I feel trapped now. But anyway, so they're like, we got to split up, separate them. So
Yeah,
Billy...
yes, Jason tells Billy and Trini to split up, or, like, lead some of them away. Spread them out.
So they lead 3 away.
3 of them. 3 of the 15 of them.
Of the million putties. Then Billy decides they should split up.
Independently split up.
So Trini lures 2 of these 3 away.
Yeah,
and they presumably just go right
just
back
walk up
to the group.
Yeah.
They go, oh, we lost the yellow one. Let's go help.
Trini hides under a rock. Like, it's like a rock lip, I guess. I don't know. It's a rock coming out that she can fit in the nook of. And the buddies jump down, don't look behind them.
And they go, and then that presumably
they just kind of shrug it off and walk away.
That presumably means, where'd the yellow one go? I don't know. Let's go help the guys.
Either that or they just walked off into the distance and there's 2 putties still to this day wandering the deserts of Angel Grove.
I want to watch that show.
It would be boring. It's just 2 putties lost in the desert.
It would be boring.
Rita's forsaken them. She's forgotten about them.
It would be like 5-minute webisodes of just them walking through the desert going... No subtitles. Just you have to infer what they're talking about.
I'm terrible at putty noises.
Yep.
You're definitely superior out of the 2 of us.
Well, that's going on my resume.
Should.
You laugh. But it couldn't
Maybe
make
we should try voice acting.
It couldn't make my resume any worse.
For a better job.
Where was I? Back to Billy, who is climbing all the way up the cliff.
Right.
To get this one putty away from his friends.
Obviously. He's basically just trying to lose this putty. He doesn't care about his friends. He just doesn't want to fight this putty anymore.
He knows that this putty's got his number, and he doesn't want to be any part of that. So that's when we get into the crux, the emotional crux of this episode, which is Trini getting over her fear of heights as fast as a human can.
Yep.
She sees Billy and goes, "Billy, you're too high."
He's being chased by a putty.
She doesn't care about that. She's worried about how high up he is.
She tells him to come back. Come back towards the putty. You're going up too high.
You're way too high to be in general. You need to come down. So then she starts climbing up the mountain to save Billy while telling us, I need to do this, but I can't. But I have to. But I'm afraid. But I should. But I can't. But I will.
She presumably quits. At one point, she's just like,
she quits
I can't do this, and she leans on a rock, and then it's just, I have to, smash cut to her
immediately.
Up the cliff.
Immediately. It's the most rapid character development I've ever seen. It's like, you have this problem now. You're deathly afraid of heights.
And
you are deathly afraid of heights. Ranger who was chosen for being fearless and agile. So the first episode after that will be about your fears.
This is why Food Fight aired first.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
She's never afraid of heights again.
Well, she got over it.
But I mean, there's just no reason for her to be afraid of heights. I guess it adds a little bit of drama to that one particular scene.
Yeah. But they could have not.
But they could have just not.
I don't know. Billy is trapped at the top of this mountain with a putty. He's staring down the barrel of that feature. Putty's gonna push him off the edge. So he goes to Morph. Unfortunately for Billy, he is the klutziest human being.
He's lost his communicator.
No, they never got him back.
Right.
Alpha's
That's why
still
he's like,
fixing them.
oh, Alpha.
Alpha. Dag it. Drats, Alpha. So he drops his morpher down the cliff. That's how much you think a morpher costs? Like $1 billion? Because there's only
at least
there's only 5 in existence.
Plus, they morph you.
They change you into something that can control a giant robot.
Yep.
Dinosaur.
There's no Megazord in this episode.
No, there's not. We're coming to that.
All right.
So Billy drops it. Trini comes up. haven't gotten over her fear of heights.
Yeah.
Does a little Kansas City shuffle. Throws the putty off the cliff.
No, she doesn't. She postures in front of Billy.
He runs and she dodges. But that putty definitely flies off the cliff.
But she doesn't throw him. It looks like it's like a split second. Because she's standing in front of Billy. Billy's cowering behind this tiny little Asian girl.
Which I love.
Yeah, that's great. I love that he's like, part.
I love that she's like, I'll protect you.
Yeah.
And he's like,
and Billy's like, yes,
you will.
absolutely.
Yeah, you will.
And as the putty runs at them, like, very quickly she turns. Billy's already moved, but it looks like she was supposed to grab him and pull him out of the way.
Yeah, she jukes. She does a little juke and putty goes off the edge. Then they teleport back down. They don't teleport, but they run back down. They are down that cliff quickly.
Right, because Trini's not afraid anymore. She just jumps down.
And plus, going down, you're getting closer to the ground. What do you got to be afraid of?
Right.
So
you're getting less and less height.
Yeah. So she gets to them where they're surrounded by 13, 14 putties.
Huggies.
A bunch of putties, but they're all hugging, so Josh and I call them these are the huggies.
Because they're just circle hugging the other three rangers.
So they got their huggy circle going on, completely trapped within this impenetrable huggy circle.
It's a very tight huggy circle.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not just arm linked, they're like, really
they're
wrapped
like soccer
in there
hooligans.
good. Yeah.
They're like rugby. Like
they're having a huddle over the Power Rangers.
So then Billy and Trini just sneak under.
They join the huggy circle for like a brief second. They're part of it, and then they throw them away.
All it took was one nerd and one tiny Asian girl, and then boom,
done.
Step your game up, Jason. So then we get to
Jason.
Oh, we missed something. After Trini throws or dodges, when Trini dodges that guy off a cliff.
Yes.
Billy says, morphitudinous.
They're just throwing catchphrases at the wall.
See what sticks. Yeah, they're like...
Because we didn't talk about when Kimberly...
That's later in the episode.
No.
That's at the end of the episode.
Kimberly says more phenomenal when Billy shows them the communicators for the first time.
So now that I know that, because I'd forgotten it, now I'm thinking Billy is like, I like more. I was going to say more phenomenal.
Right, now he's mad.
Now I'm going to think of a better one. Morphitudinous, and they were all like, no.
Billy,
no.
Billy, go on.
So, more phenomenal, one of the premier catchphrases of the Power Rangers came from Kimberly.
Yep.
So, send Amy Jo Johnson your thanks. Or whoever wrote it, but whatever.
They don't count.
They don't count. Just send it to Amy Jo Johnson. Back to the Huggy Circle. Huggy Circle is broken, but you still have 16 dozen putties angry at you. So, what do? Human chain.
Oh, now, the human chain.
Now, when I think human chain, I think Red Rover.
Yeah.
Wrong.
No, so wrong.
They make a Zord out of themselves. Where Zach jumps on Jason's shoulders.
Yeah, seated piggy, like the way you would piggyback your 2-year-old.
Kimberly wraps her arms around Zach's legs.
Yep.
Zach leans back to counterbalance Kimberly. Kimberly raises up to counterbalance Zach. And then Jason, who is apparently Thor, the god of thunder, spins around in circles with these two other human beings on his back, which is a very impressive feat of strength.
And is also actually Austin St. John in there.
Yeah, that's really him for real doing that.
Man is a titan.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't want to talk about his stupid red pants anymore, because if he ever finds us...
He's going to throw us into the sun. Oh, really? Crumple us into a little ball and put us in the garbage. The human chain, obviously, is victorious against the Huggies.
Huggies can't handle that.
Huggies don't stand a chance against that. So then Zordon is talking to them through the viewing globe, which this is a thing that will happen again, where they are just...
This happens a lot.
They are just standing... I say it in the woods, because I didn't...
They're in the desert.
They're in the desert, but I wrote in the woods because that's a funnier visual to me. They're just in the desert.
No, in the desert's funnier. Because there's nothing.
We're going to have to agree to disagree then. You're right. I think you're right. But they're just standing with their hands on their hips, all proud of themselves, looking at nothing. Well, Zordon talks to them somehow because they don't have their communicators.
Oh, he's talking to them through the viewing globe.
Does that mean there's like a
Whatever you can...
there's a viewing globe? Does that mean there's a projecting globe?
There has to be. There's some kind of camera drone.
Right, because I accept that Rita can do it with her magic.
Right.
But Zordon is all science. That's where the the main the underlying conflict is.
Right. I don't know.
There's got to be.
I can't explain this in a
new headcanon.
Because I was gonna say they can hear him because whatever you're looking at in the viewing globe, you can hear you.
Yeah.
But they spy on Rita through it all the time.
Exactly. So
I don't know. It's just a '90s kids show thing.
This can only mean one thing.
Power Rangers are actually crazy, and none of this is real.
None of this is happening. Just like Rugrats and just like Pokemon.
No. The Rugrats one is stupid.
Rugrats is dumb. The one where they're all kind of mental disorders, or they're the 7 deadly sins, that one is a little more acceptable. But why I killed babies? That's wrong. Because all of the adults interact with all the babies. So, get over it, nerds. Just let things be fun.
We're recording a Power Rangers podcast.
And talking about Rugrats.
Oh, God.
Anyway, and the whole Ash thing, whatever. So now, Zordon congratulates Trini on getting over her fear, but it's not over yet, because Bones is messing around with that amusement park that no one visits.
That's in the abandoned amusement park district of Angel Grove?
Of course. Is that next to the abandoned warehouse district, or is that on the other side of town? Because I feel like they have too many abandoned districts.
There's just the one...
FEMA's going to have to come in.
The one civilized district is the school and the juice bar.
Right. And their houses, because they go there, houses. It's like a 3-block radius where everything is, and the rest of it's abandoned. It was a boomer town, but then all the gold ran out, and everyone left.
Oh, jeez.
So they morph.
Yeah.
And they get teleported, because as we've established, morphing also teleports you.
It puts you where you need to be.
If you need it to be. That's fine. I'm 100% on board with that.
Sure.
What I'm not on board with is now they're fighting Bones, who can turn invisible, like all skeletons can.
I just want to say, the names of the monsters, like, they're all bad.
Yes.
But, like, a lot of them follow the, like, Pokemon naming conventions, where it's 2 things that these monsters are smushed into one word.
Right.
Bones is...
Bones.
They looked up and said, oh, it's made of bones. Called Bones.
Could have been worse. It could have been Bones Hat. Get on there, Bones Cape.
I guess they can't all be pumpkin wrapper.
No.
Anyway.
No.
That's going to be...
They wish they were all pumpkin wrapper. So, Bones can turn invisible. Again, like all skeletons can.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a skeleton? No, you haven't, because they're invisible.
Unless you have.
I forget what all the other things Bones could do. He can tap dance. He can take his head off.
Take his head off.
He can... He is the great...
I think he's got a sword or some kind of slashing weapon.
He's got a lightsaber.
Okay, yes.
But it's a really skinny... It's like a glowing dowel that he has.
Power Rangers, you guys.
Power Rangers, you guys. But here's the thing about Bones. I do not understand, on top of all the other things I don't understand about Bones. Is he the time warp now? Because...
Well, when Rita creates him, he's, like, in charge of it.
Right. But he throws his head off, and they all get teleported into the time warp.
Yep, I don't know.
But they've already showed us that the time warp was there because they shot it out of the spaceship. What do you want me to believe, Rita?
I think he's, like, the key.
He's the time warp key master. He's the gatekeeper.
Bones lets you in.
There is no Bones, only Zool. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's my note, is Bones is the time warp?
No, he's the keeper of the time warp.
He's the keeper of the time warp. Sure. In this time warp, Bones is king, and we know this because he has his own putties. The Scullies.
The Scullies.
Which...
That sounds dirty.
It's like a skull cap.
I know... I don't like it.
I'm calling them Scullies.
We're gonna call them Scullies, but
it only sounds dirty to you. I don't see it.
I don't know. All right, yeah, fine.
Anyway, they're junk. They're just like the putties made of bones.
Less effective.
Yeah,
less effective than putties.
Trini runs through them with her dagger and literally cuts them to pieces with one slash. They just crumple into bones piles. But Billy goes, "We gotta get rid of his head. Obviously, that's the source of his power." because that's a spun that teleported us here. So he grabs it, throws it to Trini. She slashes the Scullies, throws the head into the crevice that Bones created.
Bones made a crevice, I think, to like separate them and trap them in there
to stop them from getting to the bomb that would blow up the spaceship time warp that was in the time warp.
Right, because if that's blown up, then there's no way out.
There's no way out, except for the pumpkin gourd thing.
That's only a way in.
But then they got out that way too.
That's also a way out, but the Rangers don't know that.
You're right. They don't know how Squat and
They
Babu
didn't even
got
know
out.
Squat and Babu were there, did they?
I think they did when Squat burned his hand on the thing,
okay.
and he went, "Oh!" And then Kimberly's like, "Jason, look!" And I imagine they just jumped in the pumpkin as, you know,
They're gone.
they're like, "Hey, goodbye." So then, he creates this giant crevice, this giant 2-foot wide crevice, because his hat is just a little bit smaller, and his hat's about 2 feet, I would say. She chucks that down there, and this is when the episode gets a little pell-mell, because Bones is dead now.
Bones died.
They killed Bones by throwing his head into a crevice in a time warp. His only weakness. So,
it's a good thing that he made a crevice in a time warp then.
He should have known that these 5 teenagers with attitude coming for him, sucker. So Rita, understandably upset with this, says, "Summon to Earth."
She chants like a spell. I caught a little bit of it. It's like moon dust, starbeam, send a giant to Earth.
It's summon to Earth a giant.
Okay. But it starts with moon something. It's like moon palace.
I don't know.
Eye guy. I don't know. Eye guy's a monster
There's a
later.
monster later. We should have said Eye Guy. He'd have just wrapped up by now.
But yeah, then there's this giant sentinel whose name is presumably Giant.
Giant. Josh called him the Iron Giant. I called him Carl the Colossus or Carolossus. Because he's just nobody. He's just Carl.
He's a giant.
But this is why there's multiple ways out of this time warp, because he just straight up punches into the time warp and rips Jason out, destroying the time warp around the Power Rangers.
Who get out.
Who just
They
get
jump out. Or
what?
does the time warp dissolve and they fall
I imagine
out?
when he popped it like a bubble and it wrapped around.
As they're falling, the camera effect is weird. It's blurry and some of the colors are messed up.
It doesn't change the fact that this giant monster
Punched a hole
just
in a
punched
time
into
warp.
the time warp. How stable can it be?
Very. That's why it needed to be destroyed and trap them there.
I guess. I don't know.
It worked on Zordon.
It worked on Zordon. That guy. That's why he's got kids doing it, because he's like, dude, I screwed up.
Right.
Maybe if I get 5 people instead of just me, they can stop Rita. So now Jason says, Zordon, we need dinosaur power. And Zordon doesn't say anything, but presumably he said to Alpha, just send the T-Rex.
Right. They don't need all of them.
Just send Tyrannosaurus.
It's just Carlossus.
It's just Carlossus. She didn't even make him grow. She just sent him down fully grown. How bad can he be?
Right.
So then
what if she did make him grow after?
And he's just like the size of North America. He's in top of him is in space.
Yeah.
He grabs the moon and hits the Power Rangers with it. Ruins
Rita
the
drops
Earth.
the ball on Giant.
Right? She could have gotten so much bigger. She wanted to destroy Earth. She would have just done that. Thrown the moon into, spiked it like a, did a football dance. What do they call it? Touchdown dances?
Yeah.
End zone.
The Iggy Shuffle is...
The Iggy Shuffle is the only one I know. So, but then it's T-Rex versus Carlossus. And T-Rex whomps him.
Yep.
T-Rex destroys him. I think the finishing blow is bark at the ground until dust comes up and kills him. Yeah, scream at the ground is the note I have. Day is saved thanks to T-Rex.
The Powerpuff Girls.
The Powerpuff Rangers.
Give me 5 minutes.
You can make that.
Oh, I can.
You can make that. You could Google that. And it's probably a whole thing, but you should make it better than whatever you find on Google.
It shouldn't be hard.
So it's starting to rain again. So just bear with us again. Now they're back on Earth. Ernie is chatting up this fine young thing, talking about this robot attacked a giant outside of town.
In the park.
In the park. You know, the park.
In the abandoned park district.
That's why it's all dust, because there's no gardeners, there's no landscaping.
Maybe it wasn't abandoned. Like, even the warehouse district might not have been abandoned until a few monsters stomped
Yeah, they
through.
don't actually say the abandoned warehouse district till later on, after everyone's cleared out.
Like, look, Power Rangers, just fight them here.
We can only fix these so many times before what's the point? So Ernie says, and get this, they call themselves the Power Rangers.
The Power Rangers. And he, like, shakes his head.
He's like, yo,
he's like,
Power
the Power Rangers.
How did he find out?
It was on the news.
How did the news find out? Let's follow the chain here. Ernie says they call themselves the Power Rangers. Did they do a press junket after
Maybe.
Goldar? Or they're like, oh, we're the Power Rangers. Don't worry about it.
Well, no, because
nobody freak out. Don't send the government. We got it.
They wouldn't have done it after the first episode because they did it after they fought this monster. Because that's when Ernie heard about it. Was because of this fight.
So is there like a hidden...
Maybe there's like a news reporter who was in the park, and Jason was like, "Come on, Power Rangers, let's get them.
Let's get them." I would like to believe that some intrepid reporter was like, "Chief, there's robots and people in suits fighting monsters. This should be on the news." And then she,
like, "Yes, April, you're right."
Like, "You're right, April O'Neil. Go." And she's like, me? Not like a whole team?" And he's like, "No, this isn't a big enough story. We'll just send you." And then she hears Power Rangers. She blows the whole thing wide open, moves to New York, gets a cherry gig at Channel 6. Kimberly says Morphinominal again, just to nail home that morphitudinous is stupid. It's not going to fly.
Morphinominal is streets ahead of morphitudinal. Morphitudinous. I don't even know what it is.
It's so dumb, who cares? So then they're talking near the newly fixed, and he patched the roof.
He patched it up.
Ernie works quick. This is his pride and joy. This is his place of business. Passed down from Ernie Jr. He's Ernie the third at least. He's got a long line. No, he's like Ernie. He's got to be Ernie like the eighth, because back in the Wild West, Ernie was there.
Right, yes.
So this juice bar has been in his family for generations.
Back in the Wild West, it was still a juice bar.
A juice bar. Ching. They sold sarsaparillas exclusively.
That episode's fun too.
It is. So then Zach sneaks up on Trini. She's like, "Yeah, whatever, conquer my fear, no big deal." Zach scares her wearing a Scully mask.
Right.
She shoots up it like nothing, and then they all laugh at her expense. Because they're
best friends.
Now she's trapped at the top of this rope. Because she only climbed up it out of fear. Now how do you get down? You have to slowly scooch down inch by inch.
Just drop down and Jason will catch you. Gotcha, Treen.
So this ends High Five. Freeze frame on everyone laughing and being bros.
No. There's one more thing we have to talk about. They get the communicators back. Billy's like, "Alpha, finish the communicators. Here they are." And when he gives Kimberly hers, she's like, "Oh, you mean we can use these to communicate and teleport now?" He's like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "This is so 90s.
Yeah. I had forgotten about that.
And she doesn't know how right she was.
Truer words. Spoken.
Because she meant it in the way like, "Man,
This is
the
the
90s
future.
are the future." And it's that phrase still holds up today because, man, that is so 90s.
Very 90s. Because now we have cell phones that connect to a global knowledge base.
Right.
Yeah, so High Five is over. Rapid character development happened.
There was a conflict, and then it was resolved.
Conclusion. It had everything a story structure needs to have.
The conflict of Trini's fear was resolved halfway through the episode.
Yeah, well, they needed to get out of the way so they could fight.
So they could fight
It should
Giant.
It should have been Trini fighting Carlossus by herself
Yeah.
Having to punch him in the head till he died.
He was a giant. They could have done so many fear of heights things with that.
But the problem
Man.
is Zeo Ranger probably doesn't have a fear of heights.
So what they should have done was given the fear of heights to Jason instead.
No, wrong. He's the Red Ranger. He's not afraid of anything. You can't give Jason a fear.
He's not fearless though. He's bold and powerful.
He's bold, so he doesn't have no fears.
Neither does Trini. That's why she's the Yellow Ranger.
Look, why am I defending it?
I'm just saying. By giving Trini a fear of heights, they just made more problems for the episode than they fixed. Anyway.
But this is the second episode.
This episode doesn't really introduce anything.
Nope, except that some monsters are sissy enough that they can beat him with one Zord.
Yeah.
And
Giant
it did introduce one very important thing.
How cool their blasters are.
Yes, but also Rita's catchphrase of, "Oh, I have a headache."
Yes, okay.
This is the first instance of it. It will go on to live
It's in every episode I think that Rita
forever.
is in.
And then eventually Diva Talk starts saying, "I have a migraine." So in conclusion, not every episode of Power Rangers is going to be a nostalgic home run. They don't all hold up, but it's fine because it's still fun.
It's still, yeah, the episode, maybe sometimes you cringe.
Like, okay,
But the episode as a whole is still just fun. It's a group of 5 friends who get to be superheroes together.
right, and like we spent a good amount of time, read all of this episode, pretty much making fun of it, but we laughed the whole time because it's...
Right.
We're not making fun of it because it's...
I'm going to be very brutal when we get to Turbo.
Yeah.
So be ready for that. I'm going to be the bad guy of our Turbo season.
I have... Okay, I don't know how long we're going, but I'm just going to throw this in right now. Power Rangers Turbo. I don't know when it came out, but I saw it on May 2nd, 1997. How do I know this? Because my little brother was a baby. Why do I know May 2nd? I don't know. I'm good with dates. My little brother was a baby. He slept through the whole thing in the theater. Me and my mom watched it. And then the Turbo show spun directly out of that. And Justin was in it, who was my age.
Yep.
So I have this like incredible attachment to it because of all of those things that when I watch bad Turbo episodes, I go, "That's fine. It's fine. This is fine."
Which is funny because 90% of the Turbo episodes are bad Turbo episodes.
Pretty much until the changing of the guard, and then they're trying to do cleanup. Then they're just bad and clean up. Be like, "Look how cool
They're
Cassie
still
is."
just bad episodes.
Look, that jacket episode is amazing.
I like the jacket episode. The jacket episode is fine.
The jacket episode is so... If every episode was
It's so
crazy...
90s.
It was. If every episode was as over the top as the jacket episode was,
Yeah.
Turbo would be the best
When
season.
I watched Turbo for the first time on this mega DVD set.
Yeah, recently, yeah.
Yeah. So when it started out, I'd already known that it was based on Car Ranger,
Right.
which is a
Not Turbo Ranger.
which is a parody of Sentai's. It's it's a Sentai, but it's also a parody.
Yeah,
of
it's making
Sentai's.
fun of... Because at this point, they had like 15 years behind them. Like,
Right.
they had way more Sentai than we had Power Rangers.
So if you watch the first couple episodes of Turbo, I watched them. I'm like, oh, it's just making fun of tropes.
All right, anything else we need to talk about High Five?
I don't think so. I think that's basically it for High Five.
Next time,
We're talking about episode 3, which is entitled Teamwork,
as is tradition, yes, teamwork.
which might be another episode in the vein of this one.
Teamwork is not good, you guys. Teamwork. Ooh, there's a reason.
Yeah, it's not great. I'm gonna try to defend it. Jake's gonna be the villain of the episode.
Yeah.
Just be ready.
Oh, teamwork.
Anyway, it'll still be fun.
It'll still be fun.
We'll still have a good time.
Right. I just have to. I am gonna have a lot of structural issues from a writer's standpoint,
which is fine. Because the episode has a lot of structural issues. Has a lot of structural episodes.
Anyway, so we've blabbered enough.
We have.
We'll let you guys get back to your life.
Yeah. Thank you for listening
Thank
to
you for
the
listening.
Morphin Grid.
In the description is our website and our email.
Hopefully they exist by now. I've gotten off my butt and made them.
They should by the time this is out. It'll be in the description. Email us any questions or comments. And do us a favor, because I'm expecting people of all ages to listen to this. Put your age at the bottom of when you sign your name. Just Jake Mason, age 23, or that's me. That's not you,
right?
Unless there is a Jake Mason, in which case definitely email me because you have a really cool name, dude.
Right.
Just tell us your age so we don't have to guess. Because I listened to another podcast where a lot of kids email in and they had a fun time trying to discern some of it in the earlier episodes. But yeah, tell us what you think. Tell us what you would like. I mean, obviously, the format's going to stay the same. We're going to keep going episode by episode. So we're not really taking requests. But, I mean, anything we can improve on, we'll definitely...
Yeah. Sometimes we're going to record multiple episodes a day. So we won't... if you have a change and we're like, oh, man, we like that. Let's try it. It might be a few episodes down the road.
It might be several episodes in that we enact a change. Maybe sometimes if an episode's kind of light on content, because like if it's like a bad, goofy episode like this one, we're gonna have a lot to talk about. If it's a really good episode like Green Medieval, we're gonna have a lot to talk about. If it's a really mediocre episode,
right,
we're not gonna have a whole lot to talk about. So maybe we'll answer emails or something. I don't know. This is all future stuff. Right. Who knows if anyone's even listening to this? But I digress. I've been Jake.
I'm still Josh.
This has been Podcast.
May the power protect you.
What are you doing? Who are you texting, Hollywood?
I'm not. Everything's good. Just keep going.